Alright, winter is here, so I can't do much detecting. Snow on the ground, so I got my machines in the bathtub. Giving them a little pre-soak before I give them a good old wipe down. As soon as I get my new machine in and do some tests and stuff, and make a little comparison between the 800 and the Manicore, or the 900, whichever I just, get in. The Manicore's on pre-order, but I might get the 900 too, I don't know. We'll get into that in a little bit. But they are in here soaking. But Troy wants my 800, so we're going to do a little trade for my 800 for something else. But winter's here, so unless I get on a site where I really want to use my 800 and want to make sure, like a one hunt kind of permission type deal, kind of like my church camp that I go to, kind of sporadic. I can sometimes get in there and sometimes I can't get in there. The 800 is probably going to go in the box unless I get like a permission like that where I need, to hunt it, and, I don't know if I'll be able to get in there or when the next time it is I'll get in there to do some hunting type deal. So, I know the 800 the best, so I definitely want to use that, but it's going to go in the box unless something like that comes up. So got the Nocta Macro Legend in there too, getting a little soak, get them all cleaned up, and I'm going to show you guys some stuff on coins here in a little bit. So, see you in a little bit. One last real quick thing, I about made a boo-boo. You definitely don't want to throw this in the water, that's an obvious, but you also don't want to throw your control box in the water without the coil connected to it, or without the water sealed type cap on the end of these. So you want to make sure your coil is connected to your control box if you don't have the cap on it. And some of the caps are not. I don't think some of the caps are waterproof. Keep that in mind. They're more of a dust cover type thing that you would find on your ARs and stuff like that. They don't have the rubber seals or anything, so make sure you have your coil connected to your control box so you don't get water up in there. I about made a boo-boo with my Equinox. I started to put it in and I'm like, oh, wait a second, I better put that back on there. So, alright, see you in a little bit. And I noticed one more thing. I keep saying we'll see in a little bit. I noticed one more thing. Look what the Equinox is doing. I know this is only maybe about a half a foot of water. This isn't in a creek or in a river or a lake or the ocean or whatever you want to take your machine in. Excuse me. Obviously, the ocean, if you're in the ocean, things are going to be more buoyant than in fresh water because of the salt water. So if you take something in the ocean, it's going to be more buoyant than it would be in fresh water. Look at it. This is floating. The Nocta Macro Legend sunk straight to the bottom. Equinox is floating, Nocta Macro Legend sunk. So, just something to consider if you're out in the water hunting. Your Nocta Macro Legend might sink to the bottom. If you don't have it tied off on you and it floats away, it might float to the bottom. Alright. Alright, hey, we're back here. I got some stuff laid out here on my desk here for this air test I was just talking about doing. I turn this computer screen off before I turn you around here. Got some coins laid out and we're going to run it across the VDI scale and we're going to see how close and tight these coins fall together. I'm going to post some screenshots off Wiki that's going to show you the composition of what some of these coins are made of. From what I'm seeing, all the silver coins are made out of 90% silver, and then they got that 10% copper for base, because silver and gold are a soft metal and you have to have something to form that metal around, so they use copper, because copper would be the third most value thing, gold, silver, copper. And if you've watched some of my previous videos, I'm going to repeat some of the kind of the same things on pennies. But, yeah. So let's get you turned around here. One thing I really want to touch on is early wheat pennies. Well, I'll just turn you right here and we'll talk about it. Alright, we're going to start up here on the top left corner, and I found this, and I thought this was really cool. I called my coin store to see if it was any value to it, and he said if it was a VDI or something on the bottom down here on the reverse. Or is that the reverse? Is the head side the reverse or this side the reverse? I don't know. But it's a 1909 wheat penny, which is a transitional from an Indian head penny. So the Indian head penny stopped in 1909, and then they went to wheat penny. So I have a transitional wheat penny. It's 1909, which I thought was really, really cool. But I want to get into these real quick. This is a 1910, I do believe, wheat penny. And this is a 1946. These sound different on the machine. The earlier wheat pennies, I could be corrected when I do this test, but when I was standing out in the parking lot one day with Troy, we were running over some of these wheat pennies. These earlier wheat pennies come up more of a zinc signal. And these more newer wheat pennies come up as a copper penny. Now, I'm going to post a wiki thing. It said some of them are made out of tin and some are made out of zinc. So, I don't know where 10 rings on the scale, but I'm going to assume the earlier wheat pennies are made out of tin. Copper and tin, and then these newer ones were made out of copper and zinc. Same thing with these here. These earlier Indian head pennies, this is a 1859 fatty Indian head penny. These earlier Indian head pennies were made out of nickel, copper and nickel, which is why these ring lower because of the nickel that's in it. Whereas these were copper and zinc, the newer Indian head pennies, the later Indian head pennies. So the early ones, the fatty Indian heads, were copper and nickel, and these were copper and zinc. So these ring higher, and that's why these ring lower, because of the nickel content. Up here I have the 2 large cents, the United States large cents. I can't remember if I got a date off that, but you can see that one's what, 1853. This is my British 1900 large cent. So these are my foreign coins, and then I have a British half penny. That's 1945. That is my Canada, I think it's a 1954 Canada penny. This is an Australian half penny, which is a 1954 too, I think. And then I have some Panama silver. That just 1930 Panama silver that I just randomly picked up. You guys seen me find this with the Apex. Silver. Yeah, silver quarter. Canada quarter. 54. Yep, 54. And you got 1830. 50-cent piece. I'm not sure what is that, half or drape bust. I don't even know. I don't know all the nicknames for some of these coins. Then we got a 40% 1965 Kennedy, and then we got 1896 silver dollar, and then thought I had one out here. I must have put it back. I got a 64 Kennedy. I'm gonna put in here. This is my Walker I found, and then we got a 1950 Washington quarter. This is the Merc dime, the last Merc dime I found. This is the slickest Merc dime that I have found ever, and it's kind of started to taco. So that's that. Okay. I don't have any other quarters. Maybe I might hold off and do the actual air test and maybe borrow Isaiah's barber quarter, because those were ringing lower on the new Equinox machines. So I might get a barber quarter from him and throw it in there. I don't think I have any Standing Liberty barber or Standing Liberty quarters anymore. But moving down to the dimes, I got a barber dime, yeah, Mercury dime and a Roosevelt dime. And let me get into my box here. And it's supposed to be a seated. I was supposed to throw out there too, but I forgot to grab it. And there's a seated. So we got quad silver dimes here. We're gonna run them all across and see where all these fly on the machine. And then I had purchased some half dimes, various years. This one's super thin. This one's in okay shape, and this one's actually in really good shape. So and here's the clad. We're gonna run all these clad across. And if you've watched my previous videos, there was a transitional period after 1982 where they went zinc. So anything 81 and below, and even some 82s will be copper. So you guys, these copper pennies are worth on the average about 2 cents because of the copper value. That's why they switched to zinc. Yeah, so these are about 2 cents a piece, just because of that copper value. You can't melt them, because technically it's illegal to melt United States coinage. And I was told that they have zinc in them, and zinc is toxic. So that's another reason you're not supposed to really melt them, is because the zinc in these are toxic. But it doesn't mean that they're not worth their copper value. So save your copper pennies, guys. I've noticed that copper pennies are getting harder to find compared to the changes getting more zinky. Yeah, these copper pennies are getting harder to find. But you got your nickel, you got your quarter, you got your dime. I forgot to cover my nickels up here, so I got a war nickel, V nickel, and a buffalo nickel. So we're gonna run all these across the machine. So see you in a minute. Alright, we're gonna try to do this. Hang in here with me, everybody. We're gonna start out with pennies here. So let me get all my pennies up here. And my Indians. Alright, so we're going to start out with the fatty Indian head. So that's your fatty Indian head. Now when I dug it, it was ringing 18. This is your Indian head penny. So it's pretty much spot on right there. Here is your older year wheat penny. Okay, so that's your older year wheat penny. Now I'm going to run a zinc penny across here real quick. That's a zinc penny. And here's your older year penny. Or wheat penny. Older year wheat penny. 1910 wheat penny. See the difference? Or not the difference, but you see the similarity between that and the zinc penny? Alright, now let me find. Alright, here's a copper. Oh, let's go. No, sorry. Here is your newer wheat penny. Here is a copper penny, modern copper penny. Now I'm going to go to a clad dime. See how the three of those ringing the same? The copper penny was just a little bit higher, but not by much. It was kind of a little bouncy. That's your copper penny, modern copper penny again. So did you see how that newer wheat penny and modern copper penny and clad dime all rung in the same region? So now let's go here to your, this is your newer Indian head penny again. Older wheat penny, 1910 wheat penny. It's a little higher. And here's your zinc penny. So make sure you dig those zinc pennies, guys, because it could be an Indian head penny, or it could be an older, or it could be an older wheat penny. So it's kind of all over the place there, but them are your pennies, and I threw the clad dime in there. So let's jump to dimes now, I suppose. Alright, so we're going to start oldest to newest. Or no, let's start with clad again. We'll go clad dime. So there's your clad dime again. 25, 26 is what they usually are in ground. So is your copper pennies. 25, 26. Your modern copper pennies, and so is your newer wheat. Your newer wheat cents are that. So here's your silver Roosevelt dime. See, it's going to go 27, 28, and sometimes when they're ground, they'll bounce up into the 30s. Still tight on the scale here. Still tight. All our coins have been pretty tight on the scale, except for that one old Indian, that one fatty Indian head penny was down in the 15s in the air, but when I dug it was 18. Here's your mercury dime. Same thing, 25, 26, 27. When I was digging these the other day, they were bouncing up in the 30s in the ground. Still nice and tight on the VDI scale. Here is your barber dime. Still nice and tight on that VDI scale. Here's a seeded dime. Alright, this is going to be the good condition half dime, seeded half dime. Oh, looky there. Seeded half dime, 1920. See that? Still tight. Still tight on the coins. Still nice and tight on that VDI scale. It's not all over the place like the Manicore. Still nice and tight. I understand this is a smaller VDI scale, but on all the machines except for the Simplex and this Manicore, all the machines that have 0 to 99 scale, the Garretts, I never owned a Whites, I can't tell you Whites, but the Garretts, the First Texas, they're all tight. Now, someone commented and said the Whites were kind of the same as the Simplex and the Manicore with the coins not being tight on the scale. I can't tell you anything about Whites. Never owned a Whites. But you see that though, 1920. All right, let's go. Clad nickel. I'm also doing this for my buddy who's probably about to get this machine, so it's gonna help him out. 13 for a clad nickel. This is going to be a buffalo nickel. 12, 13. This one's a little on the cruddy side, but 12, 13 is still right there in that nickel range. V nickel. 12, 13. And this is our war nickel. 13. 13, 14 on the war nickel, getting up in the 15s. Still nice and tight. Clad quarter. 29, 30 all day. Sometimes 31 clad quarter all day long. Silver quarter. Oh, that sounds good. 31, 32. Silver Washington quarter. I don't have a barber quarter. I would say it's going to be about quarter range. Not going to drop way down in the left back field. It's going to stay right there in that quarter range. I guarantee it. Let's do this thin mercury dime. I forgot to run this. Real thin mercury dime. Oh, still nice tight right there with the look. Thin mercury dime. Thin worn bent mercury dime is still right there with all the dime signals and the copper penny signals and all that. I didn't get my my Kennedy $50 out, but there's the Walker. 33, 34. Walking Liberty $50 silver. Should have got a clad walker out. Oh, I don't know where he is offhand. Here is a 40%. I mean, 40% clad. It's. I mean, look, it's still. This is a 65. 1965 Kennedy. So 40% silver. Let's go with this thin $50, 1830, 1839 maybe. Thin. Look at this thing. Thin, worn. Ooh, looky there. Still right up there with the rest of them. Still hanging with the predecessors. Or not the predecessors, the successors. Still hanging with the successors. Still hanging with the Kennedys and the Walking. Still up there. This thing's worn. Here's some large cents. Here's this large cent is in great condition. Ooh, that copper. All that copper in that coin. Sounds good. Here's my field copper, my thin one. That dropped down a little bit. It's still right up there in that coin range. Alright, let's get into some of these foreign coins now. Here's a 1900 British large cent. So right in the coin range. I dig those signals all day long. British halfpenny. $1945 British halfpenny. Still in a coin. Here's a 54 or 55 Canada small cent. I guess kind of their version of the wheat penny. Nope, still in that coin range. Australian halfpenny. Dig these numbers and signals all day long. Here's our Canada quarter, silver quarter. And our Panama, we'll call it Spanish silver. Sure, why not? It's about the equivalent of a quarter. Still right up there. Alright, well that's the Equinox. The next I'm going to do the Nocta Macro. So stay tuned. And at the end of this video I'll post the composition of some of these coins from Wiki.